Dear friends, a new opportunity to have a chit chat, to have a conversation, to talk about you and your health and the health of everybody around you. I don't know if you have thought of it, but health is wealth. If we're healthy, we can generate, we can produce, we can live, we can enjoy. So that's why it's so important that we get together and have an informal conversation, a lot of subjects, about a lot of subjects that are really crucial to our health and well-being and function and vitality and any way you want to call it. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And every Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and with a rerun on Saturday mornings at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we broadcast these conversations. We talk about our health, our illnesses, our problems in general terms, how we're doing, how we can improve, and how we can, very importantly, underline that word, prevent getting with a terrible, deadly disease. And many people say, well, I would think that if you get sick, it's because it was meant to be. It's because I have a weakness. It's because I have a problem. It's because my parents had a similar problem, or it runs in my family, etc., etc. So when you talk about prevention, you mean I can change the course of things? And the answer is yes. That's why we get together every week on Truth Be Told Radio Network. And you can Spotify us. You can search Truth Be Told Radio Network and see over 150 hours of programming similar to this one. Because we have to know who we are, we have to understand how we function, because that's the way we can say, I can zero in that direction and make sure I'm going to be functional and healthy. Make sure I'm going to live long enough to enjoy, listen to this very carefully, to enjoy my retirement and my family. Because all of us, we get up in the morning, we rush to barely eat something, we rush to the car, we rush to the transportation means, whatever it is, we rush to the office, and then it's phone calls and appointments and this and that. We barely have time to eat lunch, and then we run the rest of the day. Finally, we get home and we have things to do. We can hardly have time to say, hi, honey, how was your day? But we don't really listen, because the other person doesn't have time to sit down and tell you how their day was. So it's just a formula. It's just a phrase. And then we eat something and we crash to bed to repeat the same thing the following morning. And on weekends, we're so tired that most of the time we do nothing. We want to stay in bed till late. I don't know. This is one of the problems that America is suffering from. We have this need to sleep in on weekends. There's no physiological, there's no health reason for it, believe me. If we sleep well during the week, if we take care of our bodies during the week, we're going to be up and ready early on Saturday and Sunday to do things, to visit friends, to go around, to make a barbecue, or to take an outing. Believe me, if you take care of your body will be able to deliver. But we don't take care of our bodies during the whole week, so we crash, literally, on weekends. And then we go for the next week. So we barely have any time to think who we are, how we function, why we eat and why we should eat, how we move and how we should move, how anything. Because we have taken health for granted. We have just thought that I'm feeling great, I'm functioning very well, I don't need anything, I get up and go and work and take phone calls and have appointments, etc., and I can do with everything. And of course, in the evening I feel tired, so I take a coffee or some beverage, some alcohol, and have a big dinner, and that's it. I'm ready to go the next day. And that situation is taking a toll. It's taking a constant toll. What is the toll? The toll is very simple. And basically, it's called inflammation. When we do all these things, we tend to get a number of problems in our health. But we are so resilient. We are so well made. We are so capable of sorting out health problems that we can barely feel it. That's what happens. And that is a problem. That is a problem because when you're young, you can go to school and do a lot of things, come back, take a shower, and go out with the friends, and drink and dance and have a party to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Next morning we get up early, we go back to school, we do things that we think we love to do, and then the next evening is going to be the same thing, and we do it day in, day out, and on weekend we crash because our body just has given up. That's the word. We don't crash because we're tired. We crash because our bodies have just given up. They can't go any further. And we don't notice it, but that's been taking a toll. In a normal situation, in a healthy situation, we should understand that the fact that we don't feel any symptoms, that the fact that we can just take a shower and bounce back, that the fact that a cup of coffee or worse, very worse, an energy drink can put us back on track to keep on doing what we like, is going to solve the problem. But we're very far from the truth. We're actually opposite to the truth. All we're doing is we're disguising the possible symptoms. We don't listen to our body. We feel tired and we think, well, I'll have a cup of coffee. It's because I didn't sleep last night. I was up till 3 o'clock, and we brag about it. And it's a Wednesday. Because, okay, I should do it probably on my sister's wedding or on a vacation day, but you cannot do it day in, day out. Because it's going to be eating you up from within. Believe me, that's exactly what happens. You're ruining your body. You're ruining your functions. You're ruining the capacity of your body to function well. So today I want to have an informal conversation about why a nonchalant attitude can be deadly. If we don't pay attention, if we don't listen, if we don't get information, we do not act upon things, then get ready for the show. Get ready for the hospital. Get ready for the CT scan and MRIs and X-rays and laboratory testing and stress tests and you name it. And the worst is that get ready for them earlier than what you should expect. All of a sudden, you're going to start feeling some chest pains or some cramps in your legs, and you're going to start feeling some tingling in your fingers, and you're going to start feeling some aches on your back. And basically, you start feeling like the whole thing, the whole structure of the body is not anymore what it used to be. And you can say, well, I think that's natural. It's called aging. Yeah, partly, you're right. But the problem is you cannot have aging symptoms when you're 40 or 50 or even 60. You should be at full steam, full speed, functional, working, producing, enjoying life. But if you start having symptoms very early in life, it's because you're paying the cost of something you have done wrong in the past. And I work in a hospital, and I see people every day. And sometimes I even have fun. For example, if I'm in a mall, if I'm at the supermarket, and I look at people and I think this person looks bad, and I cannot be older than 50. And many times I start conversation. And how are you? Where you live? What you do? And yeah, I'm 48. Well, it seems that you have some health problems. Oh yeah, I have been having this, my blood pressure, my sugar level. I had some heart symptoms, so I'm on medication. I'm taking this and that, and my doctor tells me, etc., etc., etc. So you don't want to get to that point. And what we're going to talk about today is what brings you there. How things happen in your body that your health was going downhill and going downhill every time more and more, and how it has a domino effect. You might have one symptom today. Next time you're going to have 3, and the following time you're going to have 6 or 7 or 8. So, and the problem is that every symptom is telling you a story, because your body talks you to you. Your body is telling you what's happening. So I want to stay with me, because this is the conversation I want to have with you today. Friends, I'm back. I'm back. This is Truth Be Told Radio Network. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And we're broadcasting every Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. And we rerun the same program every Friday. I've been saying that all day long. Every Saturday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But you can go to Spotify and search Truth Be Told Radio Network, and then you can listen it to whenever you want. That's the 21st century. You don't have to run to the radio to turn it on because it's going to be 6 o'clock. It's going to be time of my of the program that I listen, that I love. I don't have to run to the TV set and turn it on because it's Saturday night, 8 p.m. No, right now we have access to just about everything anytime we want. So go to Spotify and search for Truth Be Told Radio Network, or go to the social media of your choice, Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, and you can listen to all these broadcasts. And probably the biggest advantage of them all when you do this is that you can share the information. Is that if you listen to something you like, or if you listen to something that can be of help to somebody else, you can call them. You can let them know. And you can say, you should listen to this. I think it's going to be helpful with the particular health challenge that you have. I think you should listen to this because with the family you have, I think information like this could help you to grow a healthier family for longer time. So that's why sharing is so important. Sharing, after all, is like the gospel. We spread the word because we want other people to listen to the same message. If you do that, I'm going to be very thankful because I want to reach as many people as I can. Because as a doctor, I have been suffering with my patients of very difficult problems. Many times that I know will not be cured, can be helped, but not cured. But I know that if I had seen these people some time before, I could have helped them tremendously. So this is what moves me. I have had, let me give you an example. An example is a person I saw. We were having a vacation time. We were on the beach, and this person wanted to get in the water. It's a person that I already knew, and I knew she could walk to the beach and she could go to the ocean. Well, when she expressed her desire to get into the water, her daughter and her son came to their help. And they took this lady by each one of the arms and walked her to the beach. Once in the water, of course, everything was fine. But then, coming out, they had to help her. And as she moved, I could see her legs. I could see the swelling. I could see the venous return being very impaired. Her veins were very apparent. And of course, that brought swelling, and I brought a lot of symptoms. She could hardly walk. Her legs must have been 2 pounds each, at least, in excess of what's normal. And I could see that there is only water in there. That swelling is only water. If I get rid of 2 pounds on each leg, she's going to be a lot better. And I told her, you should fly back with me and go to BioCare. Because I know that in my hospital, in 2-3 days, I'm going to get you very well. Because if you don't do anything, you're this far from developing phlebitis. And once you get phlebitis, you're going to go to a hospital. You're going to have a lot of pain. You're going to be put on anticoagulant medication, and you're going to have it for the rest of your life. And her answer was very, as I said, nonchalant, like, no, I feel fine. I don't have any pain, as you say. I don't feel anything. Fine. Fine with me. I can tell you, but I cannot push you. Well, I flew back. I came back to work to the hospital, and 1 week later, I heard she was in the hospital with phlebitis, with anticoagulation, with antibiotics, and in excruciating pain. Well, the end of the story is that she's never really fully recovered. She has had a lot of problems to walk. She did not get where she could be. Very close to that episode, I talked to another lady. She was talking to me. She was not the patient. She was accompanying somebody else. But when I saw her walking in, I looked at her, the same story. Swelling and heavy legs, and I could see the veins, I could see the problems coming, and I told her, you know what? This looks bad to me. If you start something smart, if you come to BioCare right now, I can almost promise you that in 3 days, you're going to be thankful you listened to me. And she did listen. She said, okay, I'll ask my family to bring me pajamas and my basic things. And yeah, I'm getting in the hospital. And we started BioCaring her. In 24 hours, she had lost about 3 pounds of weight. Did she lose weight? Of course not. It was water. It was a lot of water in her legs getting out of her body. And as that happened, she started to feel better. And then the second day, and the third day. And you know what? A family member comes to me and he tells me, "Doctor, I don't know what you're doing. It looks like witchcraft, but it's working for her in a fantastic way." And you know why he said it looked like witchcraft? Because I didn't give her one pill of medication, no anticoagulation, no antibiotics, no painkillers. Everything was BioCare, was oxidative therapy, a very good diet, a very well-controlled administration of sodium. Sodium, the main component of salt. And all that started working. And in 72 hours, she could easily get in and out of bed. She could move her legs. She could walk. And as time went by, she only improved and improved and improved. Of course, she had to change a lot of her lifestyle habits because that's exactly what had her where she was. But learning what to do is what changed her life for the better. What happens with these things? It starts very simple. Very, very simple. You start eating the foods your body doesn't need, and you start eating things that are going to be bad for your body, many times even toxic. Once you start getting all these bad oils, once you start eating all this salt, once you start getting refined sugar, there's going to be a little bit of inflammation in your body. What's inflammation? Inflammation is swelling in its most basic condition. So one of the things that starts swelling is the blood vessels. Remember, life is in the blood. So if you swell the blood vessels, the flow of blood is going to go down. And if the flow of blood is reduced, the amount of oxygen, the amount of nutrition, the amount of good things that go to every single cell of your body is going to start going down. Not only that, but if you have a lower blood flow, then also the toxic products, the tissue debris, the garbage that our body produces cannot go from the cells to the kidneys, to the liver, to the lungs, where we clean our body from all this garbage, in one word. So you don't give nutrition, you don't give oxygen to the cells, you let them with all its debris and byproducts. What's going to happen? The cell is going to suffer and eventually might even be dead. Well, that swelling is going to reduce the blood flow, and for the same reason, the blood flow to the kidneys that clear a lot of these substances is not there. It doesn't have the pressure, it doesn't have the flow, so we start getting toxic. And as things continue, you have poor nutrition on weaker tissues, and then we start accumulating all these things, and the first thing we're going to see is swelling. We're going to see volume. Where do we notice that? Well, in the furthest part from the heart, which are the lower limbs. That's why when you want to know how you're doing, look at your legs. Ask somebody to look at your legs. Ask somebody to press your ankles in the evening, gently but firmly, and if you can see the imprint of those fingers in the legs, your ankles are swollen. And if you can see that, you have at least 1 pound, 1.5 pounds per leg of unwanted fluid, which impairs blood flow even further and will speed up the process. So you have a problem that's getting worse, and you're helping the process to get faster and faster and faster each time. In no time, you're going to see big legs, a lot of pain, a lot of problems, and then comes infection, comes all the problems of phlebitis, all the problems with toxics in the system, and you're going to be looking bad and sick. It's not a time for medication. It's a time for BioCare. Well, BioCare it is. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking of BioCare. In other words, taking care of our life. And by life, I mean everything that God gave me in this body of mine. He created me in perfection, and it is my duty to make sure that I care for my body. And caring, remember, is a proactive verb. It's not a passive verb. Caring is moving on, doing something, checking things out, making sure good things happen, making sure bad things do not happen. That's what BioCare is. And I was telling you that through the last decades, we have become very spoiled thinking that health or our health is for granted. And I was telling you that many times simple things are going to tell us of big health issues to come. So a little bit of swelling in the ankles, a little bit of aches and pains in the joints, a little bit of back pain, bloatedness in our tummy. All these things are telling me inflammation. My tissues are getting inflamed, swollen. But many times it starts so subtle, so simple, so little that we don't pay attention, and then we just say, "Yeah, I have high blood pressure, but I don't feel anything. I feel fine. I go to work, I go fishing, I do a lot of things. I feel fine. So why should I modify the way I live? Why should I start taking medication? Why should I recheck my diet and so forth? I don't need to. I'm fine. Yeah, the doctor told me that I'm diabetic, but I'm fine. He gives me one tablet and I don't have any symptoms. I feel very good. And I'm happy. And why you tell me that I should go to BioCare? Well, because you're not completely sure of where you are. That is one of the problems that I see in modern medicine as we do it. One of the problems that I see in modern medicine as we do it is that if we're not really sick, we don't have really bad problems. If we're not really good in a critical situation, we do nothing. Our medical system is a crisis medical care. It's crisis. Come here when you have a heart attack. Come here when you have a car accident. Come here where you broke a leg. But don't come here if you are bloated, or if you have some headaches, or if you cannot recall few things. Take a vacation. You're probably stressed, you're probably nervous, take a vacation. don't take my time. And I have that conversation very frequent with people. When people tell me, doctor, well, I have some symptoms, but I don't know, I should tell you about them. Well, I don't think your grocer or your butcher is going to be interested or helpful. Of course, you have to tell me because I'm the doctor. And if you have a very simple thing, it is me, the doctor, who should tell if it's important or not important. Now, many times when these things begin, it only takes a little bit of care to solve them. You see, not only to treat them, to solve them. That is important because, after all, we're talking of surveillance. We're talking of maintenance. We're talking about looking at our body every day, every time, and make sure that everything works as before. If we start noticing things that were not there, if we notice symptoms that we didn't have before, it's time to talk. It's time to tell the doctor. And in this time and age, it's time to go to your computer and get more information. Listen to conversations like the one we're having right now. Because also, you already know, you can go to the social media of your choice, look for Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, for BioCare Hospital, and you can ask a question. You can make a comment. Doctor, I have been noticing this tingling in my ears. Or I had COVID and I still have this fogginess. Or I'm bloated all the time. Or I have high blood pressure and in spite of the medication I take, it doesn't seem to improve. Whatever. We have to have a conversation. You have to have questions that have to be answered. That's what we do. And when you do that, then we have to choose to BioCare. We choose to BioCare how? Well, by being a little bit more analytical. I have a pain. Don't jump at the easy, simple thing of saying, I have a pain, I'm going to take a painkiller. You have to wonder where the pain is coming from. I didn't have it before. Or if I had it, how many times, how long it's been there. Because that tells a story. And when we follow this story, then we can begin saying, we are doing something that is not going to be helpful. You might be developing arthritis. You might be developing a neurological disorder. You might having a heart or vascular condition. You might be developing diabetes or high blood pressure. And the important thing of this thing is very critical, very dire. That if you know really at the beginning, there's so many things you can do to BioCare that condition to health, to bring it back to health. I remember, and I have many people that can attest for that. People that 10 years ago, 15 years ago were told, you're beginning to get diabetes. But they chose to BioCare. And we started BioCaring. They kick-started at the hospital, but they changed a lot of things. They changed ways. They started supplementing. They started doing things right for the body. They chose to BioCare themselves, and they BioCare themselves back to health. And I'm telling you, 10 years, 15 years, And no, they're not diabetic to this point. We know they are at high risk. And that's important, and that's helpful too, because that is going to support even further the need for surveillance and care. That I can tell you about heart, about neurological disorders, about kidney, about arthritis, about everything. It shouldn't be difficult to understand that a lot of the things that we suffer from started somewhere where they might have been very easy to solve. It's just that we didn't pay attention. Once again, we are in a crisis medical system. If we don't have anything that requires a surgical room or a fancy procedure, don't come and bother me. Don't come and tell me that you're bloated. We want to see critical situations. I want to see a complete blockage. I want to see a ruptured bowel, something like that takes me to emergency room. And we glorify these situations, which are fantastic. I don't take anything from it. Critical medicine in our time is fantastic. You can be in a car accident and broken in 10 pieces and they will put you together. Thank God for that. But we also have to have the intelligence to see God gave me this body, trusting me, trusting my judgment to take care of my body. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to BioCare my body. I'm going to follow it up. I'm going to see what symptoms it develops. I'm going to see how it works. And again, it's simple. Let's look for problems or little things or little hints we get today that we didn't have yesterday or the day before. I'm wondering if this is just nothing or if this little pain, this little nuisance continues. If it continues, if it grows, it's time to pay attention. And I'm going to choose to BioCare. I'm going to try to define where it comes from. I'm going to try to define what I can start immediately doing to control it or to help it. Because even in the worst case scenario, even I was telling you, you're broken in 10 pieces in a car accident and they take you to the hospital and they put you together. There are many things that you can BioCare that are going to speed and are going to improve the results of that wonderful surgical procedure. Because we are created by God. We're perfect. We're created in perfection. We just have managed to smoke and drink and have sugar and packed food and garbage food and eat at disorderly times and don't rest, don't anything, be very sedentary. In one word, we don't take care of our bodies. We take them for granted and we're very nonchalant when it comes to healthcare. Stay with me. We still have more to talk. This is Truth Be Told Radio Network. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez and Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And we're talking about self-care, simple, or as we call it, BioCare. Why BioCare? Because bio is the Greek root for life. There's where the word biology, for example, comes from. Well, we BioCare. We BioCare because we understand that our body is a very complex, marvelous mechanism that, like anything else, needs good quality fuel, needs care, needs to check the air in the tires or the level of the oil and good lubricants, etc. And I say that because I very frequently do the analogy between taking care of your car and taking care of your body. I know families, for example, that very wisely, I should say, decide to go on a vacation, and very wisely, they decide that before they embark on this trip, short or long, I should check the car. I should check the level of oil, the windshield fluid, the pressure in the tires. I should make sure that, and all of a sudden we discover little things like, there's this thing I didn't see before. Or you move the car and somebody tells you, you know what, it's dripping oil. And you go to the garage and sure enough, there's a little thing that needs to be fixed. Well, that's surveillance. And then you act upon it. You see the little dripping of oil, you discover the problem, you don't wait. You go immediately to the garage to fix it, and then your car is in good shape. Now you can trust your family to that car. Same with the body. If one day you get up and you have something that wasn't there, something that you didn't feel yesterday, well, it's just a matter of keeping an eye on it. And keeping an eye will help me to say, oh, it just went away. It might have been my imagination or whatever, or might be something happening. Or, this is the second day in a row that I get up and I have this feeling. Or I can see this mark, or I can see this thing. And it doesn't take too much. It doesn't take too much. I'm going to tell you, for example, 2 instruments that I'm sure you have at home that you can use, not every day, but let's say every week. You get in the morning, completely naked, you get on a scale and write down date and weight. Was that difficult? No. Next thing, you measure your waistline. We never measure a waistline except when we're going to buy pants. And then we discover that we're not 38 anymore, that now we're 42. And we get upset, but we don't do anything about it. But that's not normal. We have to acknowledge, we have to accept that that is not normal, and we should act upon it. So when you start taking little measurements of your body weight, of the circumference of your tummy, and of course you know the height, then you are in a better position to tell whether things are changing or not. You can go further. For example, you could know what is your sugar level. You can tell what is your blood pressure. I have been to many malls, for example, when you're walking by on a weekend and somebody is taking people's blood pressure. I have seen machines where you put some quarters, you put your arm and give you the blood pressure. Is it very accurate? Might not be. But one thing is going to tell me if things are normal or not. Because if they tell me that 125, well, it might be 120 or might be 130. But nevertheless, they're above 120. Well, I could check with my doctor, or I would check with a friend, or I could stop at any pharmacy and say, could somebody check my blood pressure? If you do that, you're many steps ahead before any big problems happen. Because to make it short, I don't like to see patients that I know shouldn't be here, because they should have prevented, they should have acted upon it. But it's never too soon to act. Even if you feel fine, even if you're healthy, it's time to BioCare. It's time to sit down. Let's say you're listening today. You're listening to me. Well, close your eyes and make an analysis of your body. Are you really happy with the way you feel? I'm not talking about your looks. I'm not talking about, well, I could have a tummy tuck or I should work on my nose or anything like that. No, I'm talking about the way you feel, the energy you have, the stamina, the drive to do things. Are you happy? Is your mood good? All these little things, because they can be telling you a story. Our mental well-being depends a lot on the well-being of our tummy. So if you tend to be bloated, or tend to be constipated, or tend to have any of those intestinal problems, and you're depressed, in bad mood most of the time, they are associated. If you start changing this, your head is going to improve. If you start changing your tummy by the food you eat, by the things you do, a lot of good things happen. Remember that we use the word intestinal flora. And we do intestinal flora for a reason, because it's a garden. That's what flora means. Flora means all the vegetables, all the flowers, or the plants somewhere. And intestinal flora are bacteria. Bacteria are vegetable cells. And they're just as a garden. You have to water your garden, you have to fertilize your garden, you have to have a healthy garden. How you do that? By eating right. If we eat our legumes, if we eat our veggies, if we eat our fresh fruits, we're going to be improving gradually the quality of our intestinal flora. And you know what? That's going to make us happier, because they're very important brain substances that are produced in the gut, like serotonin. Serotonin is being touted as the happiness hormone. Well, it's made in the gut. So if we're very constipated and bloated, it means that we might have the wrong intestinal flora composition. So let's start working on it. Let's start feeding those good bacteria. Because the same as your garden, if you take care of it, you're going to get rid of weeds and you're going to get beautiful flowers. Simple. It just takes a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of understanding. That's why I want you to call me. I want you to ask me. I want you to go to the social media of your choice and ask a question or make a comment. Doctor, I have heard this, or they told me that, or somebody told me something, even opposite. I'm going to try to explain you why I'm telling you what I'm telling you. But the more you and I know, the better off we're going to be. As a good friend of mine always says, if we choose to BioCare, anything is possible. So by BioCaring, I'm going to start checking on swelling. I'm going to start checking on my tummy. I'm going to start checking on how I feel, pains, aches, any symptom. And start changing them through BioCare. Because if I start BioCaring early, it's going to be a lot easier. I was helping some people to make some reservations for a cruise ship. And when I was looking at the numbers, I said, if you're willing to use 1 week, 10 days, 2 weeks of your time on a vacation like this and spend this amount of money, you should do a BioCare health getaway. They asked, what is that? I said, you are going to take that time to improve yourself. You're going to be in a BioCare center where you're going to be fantastically fed, where every meal is going to be gourmet meal where all the calories and all the components and all the nutrients have been complemented. So you're going to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner as if you were on a cruise ship, except that the fats, the content, the calories are going to be counted and specifically tailored for your needs. And then you're going to have oxygenative therapies. You're going to have hyperbaric oxygen. And every day we're going to work on your intestinal flora. We're going to clear all that flora that's giving you problems, and it's going to be replaced by wonderful, beautiful flora that's going to work on your behalf. And I can tell you, and you can go once again to the social media and check testimonials of people that just rave about our food, rave about the attention, but most important, they rave about the results. I even tell people, just give me 10 days of your life of intensive BioCare, of teaching you how to continue BioCaring yourself, and I'm going to give you 10 years of well-being, health, and performance. It's a fantastic opportunity. You're not only not going to be gaining any weight, you're not going to be drunk, you're not going to be doing any of these things, but you're going to come back after that vacation, after that BioCare health getaway, healthier and stronger. And people are going to wonder what you did. You look so good. This is very important to let it go. We can do little things every day. We can prevent deadly diseases every day, every time. The day is full of choices. Do the right ones, and you're going to be healthy. See you next week.